My name is Catherine. I am 24 years old, and this is the story of how I lost everything and found something far more precious in return. I grew up in a world of comfort and luxury. My father was a wealthy man, and I was his only daughter. He gave me whatever I asked for: clothes, jewelry, the finest things money could buy. But instead of teaching me gratitude, all that comfort made me selfish. I sneaked out of the house at night, went to clubs, and lied to my father constantly. I told him I was going to class. I told him I was studying with friends. He believed every word because he trusted me, and I used that trust like a weapon. One morning, my father accidentally dropped his wallet on the street. A young man nearby saw it fall. He could have walked away. He could have kept it. Instead, he picked it up and returned it without hesitation. My father was deeply moved. He asked the young man what he wanted as a reward. The young man looked at him quietly and said he did not want money. He only wanted a job. My father remembered that I had recently asked for a personal driver. He hired the young man on the spot and told him to start the very next day. His name was Jacob. When my father introduced Jacob to me, I felt a rush of shame that I quickly turned into cruelty. Jacob was tall and handsome, but I refused to see him as anything more than a servant. I was rude to him from the first moment. I ordered him around, spoke to him coldly, and made his life as uncomfortable as I could. Jacob never responded with anger. He just did his job with quiet dignity, day after day. Every morning I told my father Jacob was driving me to school. In reality, I had Jacob take me straight to the club. I warned him not to say a word. Jacob knew everything: my lies, my habits, the double life I was living. But he stayed silent. He kept my secrets, not because he approved of what I was doing, but because he was simply that kind of man. Then, one night, everything fell apart. I was at my favorite club, dancing and drinking, completely lost in the moment when I saw my father walk through the door. He was there for a business meeting. The moment his eyes found me, the whole world seemed to stop. I was drunk. I looked like someone he barely recognized. His friends were standing right beside him. The embarrassment on his face broke something inside me, but by then it was far too late. When I got home, my father was waiting. He shouted at me for what felt like hours. He said I was a liar. He said I had humiliated him. Then he locked my bedroom door and told me I was not allowed to leave the house. I became a prisoner in my own room, surrounded by everything money could buy and completely alone. The only person who came to see me was Jacob. He brought my meals every day. He never made me feel judged. When he noticed I had nothing to do, he brought me books. Sometimes he stayed and talked with me for a while. In those quiet conversations, I began to see him clearly for the first time, not as a driver, not as a servant, but as a person with kindness I had never deserved. One evening, I broke down in tears while Jacob was with me. I told him he was the only friend I had. He sat beside me and gently wiped my tears. He told me I was not alone. We talked for hours that night about his dreams, about my fears, about all the things we had never said out loud to anyone. Something shifted between us. A closeness grew that neither of us had planned. Over the following weeks, Jacob visited my room every evening. We laughed, we talked, we shared pieces of ourselves that we had kept hidden from the world. Then, one stormy night, when the room was dark and the thunder shook the windows, Jacob held my hand in the silence. He looked at me and said softly that he thought he was falling in love with me. I looked back at him through blurry eyes and told him I felt the same. He kissed me gently, and for the first time in my life, I felt something real. We kept our love secret. Jacob left me little notes. We made quiet plans in whispered voices. Then, one afternoon, I smelled smoke rising from downstairs. There was a fire. I ran to my door, but it was still locked. Smoke poured under the door. I screamed until my voice gave out, and then I heard Jacob taking the stairs 2 at a time. He broke down the door, lifted me into his arms, and carried me out of the burning house. He saved my life that day without a single moment of hesitation. That night, Jacob came to me and said he could not bear the thought of losing me. He said he wanted to protect me forever. I told him the truth, that my father would never accept us, that our love had no future inside that house. Jacob was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked if I was willing to leave with him and start over somewhere new. I said yes before he even finished the sentence. 2 weeks later, we left at midnight. I packed one small bag. Jacob started the car as quietly as he could, and we drove away from that grand house without looking back. When the sun rose, we were far away, and I felt lighter than I had in years. We found a small town where nobody knew our names. Jacob got work at a repair garage. I found a job at a little gift shop. Our apartment was tiny. Our budget was tight. But every evening we came home to each other, and that was enough. 3 months later, Jacob got down on one knee in our small living room. He had no ring to offer me, so he twisted a flower stem into a circle and placed it in my palm. I said yes with my whole heart. We married in the town church with just a few neighbors watching. It was simple and quiet and absolutely perfect. 2 years have passed since that day. Jacob now runs his own garage. We have a small house that we have filled with warmth and laughter. We are planning to start a family soon, and I already know Jacob will be a wonderful father because he leads with patience, gentleness, and love. I think about my father sometimes. I wonder if he misses me. I hope one day we can find our way back to each other. But I do not regret the choice I made. Jacob taught me that real love is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet and steady. It shows up every day. It carries you out of burning rooms and wipes your tears in the dark. My father gave me money, and I wasted it. Jacob gave me his heart, and I finally learned how to take care of something precious. We are not wealthy by the world's measure, but we wake up every morning grateful for exactly what we have. And that, I have come to understand, is the only kind of richness that truly lasts.